Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. I think we can begin.
I think he's gone.
Very good morning to everybody here with us today. Very warm welcome in this session on MSME handholding and that we are having of Rotary District 3141, the Vocational 2 Avenue that is focusing on MSME and government relations. A very warm welcome, and I would like to give you a brief introduction on the avenue and how we are looking at connecting Rotarians, non-Rotarians to various growth opportunities, especially for MSME companies. As we all know that we have been facing some tough times, and over a period of time in the last 4 or 5 months, especially, and before that, in the last 3 or 4 years to be precise, has been having a very tough decision that has been made by many of the MSME companies. To highlight this part and how we can help them build up their relations, to build up their marketing capabilities, to build up their various avenues, we've tied up with a lot of companies, with a lot of government institutions, with a lot of foreign governments, foreign embassies, Indian embassies abroad to promote international operations, to look at how we can enhance the capabilities of the Indian MSMEs. I would now like to welcome our District Governor of District 3141, Shri Sunil Nehraji, to have the introductory remarks.
Thank you, Manpreet, and good morning, His Excellency Zulfikar Ji.
So please unmute yourself.
I'm unmuted. So good morning, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
yes.
So good morning to everybody, and of course, welcome His Excellency Zulfikar Ji, Harjeet Anand, Manpreet, and everybody here. We have met a couple of times with His Excellency Zulfikar Ji. He's presented to us a particular opportunity that we can use for our particular businesses that we can set up in the Middle East. The details, of course, he will share with all of us. However, in these trying times, if there is an opportunity, why not pursue it? Through the good offices of Harjeet Anand, I was connected to His Excellency, and I have had a couple of meetings, and the perspective that he will present to us looks very, very nice, very appropriate for these times. And while the details will come out from him, I honestly request that you study them deeply and take this as a great opportunity to try and set up businesses there. Thank you, Harjeet, and thank you, Manpreet, and of course, welcome once again to His Excellency Zulfikar.
Thank you so much, Ji. It's been a great honor for us to work with His Excellency. And I would like to just give a brief introduction. You know, he's a personality that requires such an elaborate and a detailed introduction that we are two of us today doing do that part. So I'll be taking care of his professional introduction, and I request Harjeet Ji to give a more of a personal introduction to His Excellency Gadiali Ji. His Excellency Gadiali has been Masters of International Business and Hospitality from University of Cornell, USA. He's done his Masters from University of Derby, UK, BSc in Hospitality and Food Sciences from IHM Mumbai. His Excellency is the Executive Director of Directions Investment Holding Company, which is under the chairmanship of His Excellency Sheikh Mohammed bin Sultan bin Hamdan Al Nahyanc. His Excellency is also Director, International Business for the private office of His Excellency Sheikh Zayed bin Zayed Al Nahyanc. His Excellency, Mr. Gadiali's family business spans across Asia and Middle East in the fields of real estate, hospitality, and general trading. He is also the founder of Los Angeles-based film and virtual reality entertainment production company called Cinemoe, which is into artificial intelligence and virtual reality. He's been involved in various social risk and entrepreneurship projects, which have been spanning across the globe. He represents the Middle East and North Africa region for the highest levels through the office of His Royal Highness, the Sheikh. His Excellency is also the Chief Strategy Officer for LICI Education Technologies, which is the partner company of Microsoft. I request Harjeet Ji to do the honors of introducing him on a more personal note and the other achievements of His Excellency Gadiali. Harjeet Ji, over to you.
Yeah. Am I audible, His Excellency?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes, you are, Harjeet Anand. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh,
Actually, now Manpreet has read the whole profile. Now I don't know what to say. But as on a personal note, His Excellency is like, charming guy and magnetic. When he talks, he can talk for hours. And the most important thing is people listen to him, and they are really, he's a real motivator. And I know him from last 4 5 years. Julfikar ji is recently I introduced him to Rotary, and we are doing a very good project, Sky Blue Village project, which we started Rotary Club of Mumbai Khar, and a lot of machines were given. And main thing is he will tell about little bit. He will highlight about Blue Sky Village also, where this concept was totally made by him, and the royal family and entire world is associated in this kind of where the laymen, the Adivasis and people will be benefited. So his motto main is like, don't uh, make people, teach people how to fish and earn, so that they are not kind of they want a help, they are helping themselves. So this is what I have learned from him, where he is teaching people how to fish, how to earn. That concept is really very good. And now he's very soon he'll be part of Rotary family also. Here I represent Mr. Gadiali.
Manpreet, he is muted. Whilst let me also just put in a word personally, with your permission, Echi, Zulfikar ji. I have discussed about 6 or 7, I don't know how many, we had about 10 to 15 meetings, personal meetings. But his in-depth knowledge of various topics is absolutely impeccable. I mean, you talk to him about a new venture that I want to launch. He says, oh, okay, fine, here's the connection. This is what you need to do, and this is how we can go forward. It's like, I'm seeking opportunities from him too. So all the best to you, and Zulfikar ji, we'd like to hear much more from you.
Thank you very much. First of all, very good morning to all of you. How many of you are on a webinar, like in your office or at home? So this is like a new normal that we are all going through. But I actually kind of got used to it, if you realize, I don't know how about you, but I'm kind of used to it now. Like I've been requested for a meeting somewhere today. I have to go. It's in Nariman Point somewhere. I'm in Bombay today. And I'm kind of feeling it so awkward that I have to actually go meet someone, So such is a human tendency, we get adjusted very fast, very quickly to the surroundings and our situations. I think that is what makes us humans, and that's what makes us smart. So why I'm bringing this particular personal experience is because of the fact that how my life took a turn and what happened with me. I see you guys more like a family because Harjeet ji and Sunil bhai and Manpreet and the entire Rotary family, I mean, we have met several times in informal settings as well. And I think we're more like a family. So let me be very candid, let me be very informal with you. Otherwise, there will be no fun in the conversation. Although my job requires me to be very formal, but I will take a step forward and I'll be informal with your due permission. Governor Saab, with your due permission.
Sure.
Thank you. So it goes back to my own story of 1998, when after my hotel school, I was offered a job I was rejected by 12 hotel companies. I don't want to name them. One of them finally gave me the job, and they wanted to put me in a hotel which was very far flung in India. I thought perhaps I was not fit for hospitality industry. The reason why I studied hospitality was simply because I come from a real estate background, my family. And I did not want to just build buildings like bricks and mortars, but I wanted to create real estate with soul. I wanted to create real estate which adds value to the aesthetics of the city and not just the locality or that particular street. So in my family, we've developed several hotels, but that was my initial reason why I wanted to get into hospitality. But I also wanted to work with some other hotel chains so that I get experience of operations and management. So I was rejected. Bottom line, I was rejected by several brands, and then one of the brands gave me a very, very low paying in a very remote, far-flung location. So I kind of felt that I need to perhaps study more myself. If I would have taken the job, my life would have been something else today, perhaps in one of that hotel or somewhere maybe higher than that. But I decided that I should further pursue my studies. So I went on to study further education in Switzerland in hospitality. And no, I did not ask my father for money. I paid for myself. And after studying in Switzerland for several years, I went on to do my internships. I went on to do a few things that gave me a lot of knowledge in the language, like Spanish, French, and several other such languages. I went on to study in London at Derby, and I went on to learn more aspects about how UK has been dealing with businesses. Then I was offered a job at one of the hotels in the US. At the same time, I picked up myself into hospitality education again with Cornell University. And that was again study with work. And then I realized my life took me to a completely different level, where I was director of development for a very large hotel chain called Starwood. And how many of you have been to W, the Hotel W? I'm sure most of you. So that concept was developed by me and my team, that there will be something like W, which will be coming up in future. So after a lot of experience, after studying in different locations worldwide, after getting experiences across the world, I decided to come back to India, and it was so difficult for me to get adjusted to Indian styles. A lot of people thought I was a little not fit for Mumbai atmosphere, of course, after coming from US and UK and everywhere. So, and then one fine day I get an opportunity to work in UAE, which was completely different. Although I come from the same cultural background, religious background, still I found it very difficult to go and do business in UAE myself. And I think it was early 2009-10 that I first went into UAE. And I felt that this place is too great. I mean, that I ignored for so long. And I thought I missed the bus. I mean, the growth and that energy that I already missed. But the moment I land at that airport, and although my family is there in the business in UAE since 1918, yeah, it's been a 100-year-old company there, but I never personally went to UAE. This was my first time I went to Dubai and UAE. And I felt there is something here for me, that I will achieve something here. And in a matter of 1 week's time, of course, due to my connections and friendship and relationship, I was on a dining table with one of the royal family members. I thought I will be meeting a very arrogant, a very stylish and a very arrogant guy, like who will come in a series of Rolls Royces and bodyguards and a lot of these show around him. But this guy simply drove his own Range Rover and came, and he parked his car in a parking spot, and he apologized for being 10 minutes late. And I was like, are you sure? I asked my friend, are you sure this is the royal family member? He said, yeah, he's the grandson of the king. And I'm like, look at the man. I mean, I was completely melted. It was like a moment of truth. It was like a melting moment for me, that coming from such a royal family, which is the second largest royal family, ruling royal family, not just any royal family, but a ruling royal family, which controls the fourth largest oil reserves of the world. And this guy is such a simple gentleman. So that kind of was the first time that I actually got my first rendezvous with a real royal family in the royal blood, and to see the humbleness and to see the willingness to learn. Like there were some moments in that dinner where 3-4 times it came to a situation where I ended up saying, oh, you didn't knew that. And I felt myself that was a little arrogant on my part that I say something like this. But he's like, no, I don't know, Mr. Ghadiali. Can you tell me how that works? And I could see the willingness in him to learn and listen from me. And he forgot the fact that he was royal and that I was a commoner or where I come from. He only worshipped that I had an MBA from an Ivy League college, and that he also wanted to pursue that kind of education. And he wanted me to guide him how to go about that. So that was an experience which kind of made me a fan not just a worshipper or loyal to the Middle East or the UAE especially, but I became a fan of UAE. And I'm like, you know what, there is something here for me. And trust me, it's been several years now. It's been almost 12, 13 years for me. I have never turned back, to be very honest. Of course, I've kept in touch with my country, India. I do come here. I have business relations. I have family. But in terms of business, I never felt I was away from Bombay. I get my same Indian food that I want. Even if I don't understand English or Arabic, I can still live very happily in Dubai because every other person you meet is an Indian. So I call Dubai Arab Mumbai, you know. So it's like the same buy, but you have to replace Mum with do. So that's what the difference is. And I felt that it was a place meant for us Indian. And it's a manifestation that given the right leadership, what we Indians can do. You know, because Dubai or UAE is technically built by us, the Indian people, right? So, and it's also a manifestation how people from subcontinent can actually coexist with each other. The Pakistanis, the Bangladeshis, the Nepalis, the Sri Lankans, and then you're dealing with almost 200 nationalities of the world. A lot of people tell me, just because they had oil, they could develop. I said, no, even Nigeria has oil, even Venezuela has oil. See what they did with that? Nothing, right? So it's all about leadership. It's all about the vision of the leaders. It's all about how empathetic the leader is and how much the leader is willing to anticipate the need of the lowest and the last man standing in the line. I'll give you a simple example. Since most of my friends here I could see are Sikh, from Sikh community. I admire Sikh community very much for their charity and their good work. So I remember a big delegation of Sikh community people came to His Highness and said, sir, we need to build a Gurudwara, one more. So Sheikh said, why didn't you come to me? Where I said no to you. Did I ever say no? He said, no, since you already have one, we thought perhaps you may not like the idea. He said, no, I never said. In fact, I'm saying make the biggest and the largest Gurudwara of the world in Dubai. You know, because in Dubai, they like everything largest, biggest, tallest, greatest, highest, largest. So, and that's when today, now the Gurudwara in Dubai makes 5,000 langar meals every day. I don't know if any of you knew about it. Even my Sardar friends here, I could see, are looking surprised to me. But it makes 5,000 meals every day. So that goes to show that it's culturally assimilating. It's ready to welcome people from all walks of life. I don't know if you followed the news, just last week we signed a peace treaty with Israel. Yeah, we are facing a lot of criticism from a lot of people who don't like that, but we are even ready to shake hands with the Israelis. There is never a bad peace and there is never a good war. We always believe in that. So with that initiative, we are also now opened up to Israel. They are welcoming the technology. We are validating and we are appreciating that they have done a great job in terms of technology and they are the second Silicon Valley of the world. So we should appreciate what they've done and not just fight with them just because they belong to a certain culture or a community, but we welcome them with our open hands in the UAE. Coming to the most important point today, why I'm bracing you all these things is just to explain you the political atmosphere, the overall social atmosphere in the UAE, which makes it very conducive for business. It's the only country in the world which I can say is technically not a tax haven anymore because we introduced the concept of 5% of VAT, which a lot of people misunderstood that. They thought, oh, we are trying to now increase taxes or we're trying to tax people. It is going to be a deterrent. No, it's not a deterrent. I'll tell you why. Simply because, first of all, on the B2B, there is no VAT. It's only B2C, the VAT is. So if you're thinking of setting up a processing or re-exporting unit or just an assembly unit like most of the Chinese are doing these days, in that case, there is no VAT that applicable to you. On the other hand, we are the only country in the world which is giving you advantages on the tax, and yet there is no hedging risk for you. If you know somebody in the financial field will be able to tell you that hedging risk is a very big risk in this volatile world today. I think the hedging costs have gone all the way up to 5 to 6% in certain cases, you know. So imagine you're paying 5% VAT and yet you're saying 5% on the hedging risk, you know, and that's what balances out for you. If you look at the other competitors to Dubai, there is Singapore, there is London, there was Hong Kong. I don't think anyone wants to go to Hong Kong anymore, given that it's now a Chinese region 100%. So there are hardly any options. Singapore was the old world charm. Very expensive city to live, very expensive city. The dollar is very expensive there. And otherwise, the standard of living is very high there. And hence, the cost of living is also very high. So you're only left with Dubai or London. And London again has its own issues. You're completely away from most of the world where the action right now is, which is the Middle East, the Indian subcontinent region, and the Africa. So the perfect geographical location for your business expansion is Dubai. And for launching any product in India, it is perfect for you to launch your product in Dubai first, because it gives you access to the entire Middle East and subcontinent of India's population, which becomes the best testing ground for you for any product to be launched. So nowadays we see a lot of foreign brands, they come and launch their product in Middle East, especially in Dubai first, simply because it's a bouquet of 200 nationalities. It's the best sample size you can have. So you want to attract people from all walks of life, that's where you go and launch. And it's kind of become a benchmarking and a trademark, trend-setting location, Dubai as a whole. Anyone who wants to expand their business, they are doing it in a very, very productive manner. They're able to make money, they're able to get orders. And most importantly, Dubai has established itself as a neutral location. Nobody has problems with us. We have 190 plus embassies today, which means we have diplomatic relations with almost 190 countries. As a royal office ourselves, as the office of His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Sultan, who is basically grandson of the king of Abu Dhabi. His mother is daughter of the king. So you can say the king is the Nanaji of our sheikh. So, and he is very humble, very down to earth, and he understands the trouble that the world is going through right now. He really feels that he should support the small businesses and medium enterprises, the SMEs, because that's where the real chunk of business is coming from. And not just the business, but also in these tough times where people are losing jobs, that's the fastest and the easiest way is to create more and more opportunities for the SME companies, because that's where the real employment generation happens, and that's what employs the lowest and the most unskilled to a highly skilled person. So with that in mind, we thought it was a great idea to promote SMEs and interact more and more with SMEs. I mean, I'm doing in a day 3 to 4 webinars, which are just focused on promoting the SMEs. The Chinese are looking at UAE in a very big way because technically nobody wants to touch anything made in China or made in PRC anymore. So they are also coming to UAE and using our infrastructure to rebrand or repackage or set up some kind of an assembly line, which helps them to kind of create a made in UAE trademark. And with that made in UAE trademark, they will have much more goodwill. But we are also being very cautious. We are not just becoming another dumping ground. We have set a very high standard in terms of the quality of the product that we are welcoming and the kind of industry that we want to encourage. So, and with India, I think it's a perfect opportunity right now, especially because what I see, unfortunately, in India right now is that the demand generators have completely dried down. And as a culture, as a community, I mean, I can say for myself as well, we earn 100 and we like to save 80. So we are not a very consumption-driven population, Even a cab driver in India has an apartment or two, while biggest of the investment banker in the US will be living on a rent. So it's just a cultural thing, The old cultures like the Indians, the Greeks, the Persians, they like to have houses, they like to have gold, they like to have diamonds, That's where they feel their safety lies. And rightly so to a certain extent. Being an Indian, I would relate to it that having gold at disposal anytime or having apartments is always a handy thing. But I believe somehow that saving and that reserving mindset is not helping our economy. And because of this pandemic and certain other reasons that has been happening in our economy from past 4 or 5 years, we have kind of gone back into the shell. So a lot of people are holding back their monies. They want to do business. Like I interact with a lot of high net worth individuals and big corporations in India. They are at the moment, I mean, of course, they love India. I mean, they are Indians. They have patriotism towards their country. But at the moment, they're in a situation of a fix because most of the products that they have to use as a raw material for their production are all imported from China, more or less, we like it or not. Almost, in some cases, 30 to 40%. In some industries, almost 70 to 80% of the raw materials come from China. So that's kind of become a big hassle now because there is a ban kind of on the Chinese imports. And that is leading to a lot of problems right now. So we have interacted recently with a lot of these corporations in India who are willing to set up their assembly line or some kind of production line in Dubai and Abu Dhabi, so that they can easily import the Chinese products, the raw material that they need. Of course, eventually they want to phase out the Chinese dependency, but it will not happen overnight. You know, it will take a good 6 months to a year to kind of build in-house or a domestic capacity to support the industry. That's why I always insisted in my all speeches that the ancillary services have to be strong enough if you want to build larger industries. Now, having said that, I believe that for Indian companies, it's always the first choice to go into Dubai and GCC, because if you look at overall GCC, almost 40% or 45, rather in fact more, 50% of the population is of Indian origin, you know. I mean, the Pakistanis, the Bangladeshis, the Nepalis, I consider them all part of Indian subcontinent overall. So I see that the demand generators are very much there for Indian companies, like the rice or the masalas, the packaged foods, you know, the aromas, the flavors, the saffrons, the fruits and vegetables. More or less the entire subcontinent consumes the same kind of lifestyle, you know. So you're not only just entertaining the Indian diaspora, but you're also entertaining the entire subcontinental diaspora. Plus, even the Arabic food, the culture, and somewhat the Eastern African culture is very similar to our culture in India. So you're exposing yourself to a much larger marketplace. And then you are able to get much better pricing for your investment, you know. You're able to sell at a much better pricing. You don't have a problem of maximum retail price, what we have in India, because every mall, every outlet is supposed to put its own pricing. I think it's a very good opportunity. Realizing that, you know, small companies will always have a difficulty in terms of having access to markets in UAE. Like I meet a lot of people and they tell me, especially the small businesses, that Mr. Zulfikar, yes, we agree that we should go and do business, but I am only my 2 sons and my son-in-law working here. And who can go and shift there? Somebody has to shift there to do it for us. Like, you know, who will go and do the sales and marketing and business development? And how do we execute the business? Where do we set up ourselves? Where do we get the office? What sort of company we have to form? How do we reach out to the market in a very sensitive and a sensible manner, because the culture is different, the language is different. Some people say, how do we achieve the right set of buzz about our product? And what kind of schemes that we need to come out to attract the local market. So for that, we have created a very comprehensive services, which our team is very qualified to answer and handle, given each and every sector. We're always surrounded with lots and lots of ideas, because we are sitting at the highest level in Abu Dhabi, at the royal family level. So we have a bird's eye view of what's coming and what's happening. So we do a lot of these hand-holding to the companies when they first enter the UAE. As of just a couple of days back, we have signed, and I'm very proud to announce, we have signed up and we've taken stake in a very upcoming and a very fastest growing Indian, not Indian, it's a UAE based, but Indian promoters. And after almost 7-8 months of deliberation, we finally announced our joint venture, which is going to go to the media maybe tomorrow. This joint venture is going to promote all the businesses of India directly to the consumers and end users in Dubai and Abu Dhabi and entire GCC. So it's a platform that we have joined hands with. It's called gogetters.ae. This platform basically offers a very heavy discount to our consumers in Dubai, and especially the Indian diaspora, which is living on a very fixed salaries, who always like to work on budgets, like as an Indian we are. So offering a good amount of discount always works, and it kind of creates a loyalty to the brand. And we have created almost 2 exhibition centers, year-round exhibition centers for Indian companies, small, medium enterprises, to come and display their products so that they have direct access to the consumer. Although, even though they are not in Dubai, they always have inquiries coming in because of these centers. So we have worked on a B2B level and we have worked on a B2C level. So we'll help you sell your product directly to the buyers and also help you reach out to the B2B markets through our year-round exhibition centers. So this will give you a lot of help in terms of sales and marketing and business development. And that way you don't have to shift your entire focus from your home state, home country, India, and yet you're able to get a better business opportunities. So all of these services are packaged, bundled, and so our motto is that you come from wherever, whichever part of the world to UAE, and from UAE we take you to the rest of the world. So the immediate extension from UAE is rest of the Middle East, which is again the same culture, same food habits. Rice is a staple diet across the Middle East. We're looking at just a country like Iran and Oman, and UAE itself consumes almost 1 million metric ton of rice every week. So that's the kind of capacity, you know. And the food, I mean, I can go on talking about seafood, the processed food, the meats, the poultry. There's so much that can happen. And nowadays in India, we are seeing a lot of surge in quality of agricultural output. So I'm sorry, I'm emphasizing a lot on agricultural output because that's what I believe most of the people are focusing right now on. So that's a very big sector. We can work in a very massive way. Most of the big brands in UAE are very close to us, be it the Lulu Centers or the Carrefours or the Spinneys. All those mega stores are very closely working with us, so we can create a lot of opportunities. And like I said, now we have created our own B2C platform, which automatically creates a lot more direct buyers for us. And that will also eventually help our consumers. So with all of these offering, and if you tell us that, you know, now there's a market for you in Africa or some parts of Europe or some part of rest of the Indian subcontinent, we will also help you to expand your business in these countries through our relationship at highest level. And if there are confirmed orders and businesses available, we'll not even shy away from supporting you financially also, from going into those markets and helping you to, you know, conduct business and be able to honor that commitment or honor that business opportunity that presented to you. There are right now a lot of opportunities, if I may say, in terms of healthcare. A lot of these Indian medicines and Indian doctors are highly valued in UAE. It's at par with anything coming from Germany or Europe or US. So we must make advantage of that. Indian pharma industry is doing really good. I can say the processed foods, the semi-processed foods, raw materials for the food industry. The government in the textile always is loved by locals as well as the Indian diaspora and all other diasporas. So I think overall, whatever is the human requirement here in this part of the world is human requirement in that part of the world. You know, so we are very much here to support you. I think I've spoken quite a lot. Manpreet is looking at my face. Manpreet, any other points that you want to ask me or any things that you want me to cover in this particular webinar? Manpreet, come back. Yeah.
First of all, you know, I really don't know how to thank you for giving such an amazing insight. I mean, it is something that all of us have been really waiting to listen to what the royal family or what the rulers or how it has been you know, asking to make UAE part of ourselves. It is not a question of coming to UAE, doing business. It is a question of making UAE your own, you know. You gave your own example. You highlighted how your vision changed, how things changed from being from nothing to everything, and how the interaction with the royal family came about, and how open they are to the rest of the world. So I think that is an insight that all of us are going to treasure. I would like, with your vision, His Excellency, to have interaction with the people who are attending the webinar. I hear lots of questions. If you're open to it, I would like to open up for some questions. But before that, I request Harjeet ji. Harjeet ji, are you still around?
Yeah, I am there.
If you can just write about your experience with the royal family and how the interactions have been, that will be really amazing for all of us.
Yeah, because of His Excellency, I had been visiting a lot of, you know, I met a lot of sheikhs, and the kind of welcome and kind of warmth they gave me whenever I am there, and if His Excellency is there. So I've been invited for dinners and attended, or what if my friends have any problem at any part of UAE, just a phone call and, you know, things are sorted. In that kind of part of world, if the blessings of the royal family is there, things are like, you know, they make you, it is like a red carpet given to you. And if he is your sponsor, then, you know, the life is like heaven. So the support there, it's like, you know, in India now, government keeps changing. So there they are always there. If you have the blessings of His Excellency or the rulers there, things are different, good business, and then funding is not the issue, and then business is not the issue. The sky is wide open. People think the perception people are having is that it is a small market, but to tell you it is very big market, because they are far ahead in technology. They are far ahead. If you go to the malls, you can see 200 country people visiting those malls. So what I mean to say, it is entire world is there in Dubai, Abu Dhabi. So, and the kind of business being done from there, the kind of connections you make is remarkable. And the first things in the world are all coming up there. And last 20 years, we all see the development taking part, and they are almost number one, because Americans, they are investing money there. Even India, Pakistan trading is done through Middle East. So what I mean to say is it is a right connection, where if you go through this, it makes a lot of difference. And Zulfikar ji had been very much helpful to everybody, you know, all the Indians and everybody there.
So my personal experience does say a lot. Thank you, Arjitanji. I mean, it is something that, you know, even I get to learn from you and how the interactions are. Thank you so much. I would like to highlight, for the information of all who are attending today. I myself have been in UAE for about 10 years until a few years back. And I was having an import-export business. We were dealing in heavy machinery, and we were just basing out of UAE for the ease of doing business. I mean, that is something that even I started there as early as 2003. So when I was there in 2003, you know, I there opened a company within 2 hours. That was the kind of support that system gave, and the health card and all these things. You know, just a matter of hours or matter of days, you are in and out, and you don't even have to be there. You can fly in the morning. Biggest advantage is connectivity. There are, I think, more than 15 flights every day. Much more than that now, I think. And ease of connectivity, breakfast in India, dinner in UAE, I mean, it is easy. Sunji, if you're still around, I'd like to ask you how we can get Rotary MSME companies to utilize this, and how we can support them in this initiative. Sunji, are you around?
You asked me, sorry, I thought you asked His Excellency. So listen.
You're on mute. You're on mute, I think.
No, I'm not. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
So, you know, having met him for about on 10 to 12 occasions, he has presented to us a brilliant platform where not only with his connection, but even with his support, not only can we set up a business, but we can also set up the angle of marketing our products with his support, with his connections, with his financial connections too, and all your permissions, all your necessary permissions for licenses, etc. It's just a single window that you can really go through because of his so-called leveraging. The ease of business of doing business in the African continent also, because of their connections and their support, can also be, you know, kind of treated as a great opportunity, because it's not easy to get into the African trade. His profound knowledge of every particular subject that I've spoken to him about gives you different ways of which you can conduct business in probably a more efficient and better manner. So it is an opportunity which all of us here can really take use of. And you can go through ICIB.org or talk to Harjeet Anand, and they'll all help you to put it across to him through his good offices. So present your matters, ask your questions, and we can always support you for this particular time and phase that you are looking for developing your new business. Yeah, Manpreet. Manpreet?
One second, there was a call. Just
His Excellency is muted, so unmute him.
I'm just trying to. I don't know what happened. I'm just trying to unmute him. 1 second. Okay. His Excellency, can you hear?
It's okay.
These are technical glitches that we have also got used to. Suddenly with the bandwidth issues and all these things. I'm very sorry about that.
I totally understand. I just saw in the chat somebody just asked a question also. So a lot of people actually, face a lot of issues in terms of receiving their payments, and that's the biggest concern that I always face. Always when I meet people from different countries, especially, they say, "Yeah, we're not getting paid on time." I was doing business there, and I lost almost 3 million, 5 million, 10 million of my money. The payment never came on time. So all I can say is that there are always bad apples and good apples everywhere in the world. And that's the reason why it's very important that you set up your business in the right way, so that the business is insulated from all these headaches and all these pressures, and in 80% of the cases, or in fact more, if I ask then an Indian company or any other foreign company, who was the one who didn't pay you on time? Can you tell me the company name just for my research? And they'll say, oh, that was an Indian company only who didn't pay me. So we are our biggest enemies, they say. So, so we ourselves realize that, what is he going to do? Is he going to go to the court? Is he going to file complaint against me? So, and as a nature, we like to conserve our money even when we go to litigation. So we'll hire the lawyer who will say, sir, I will recover your money and then I will get myself paid from that commission. So we are more than happy, no legal fees on us. But what that guy does is eventually he goes to your other side and he tells them that, you know what, I've taken this guy's case. Now you tell me how long you want me to drag it for you. Okay, and he will drag for 2 years, 3 years until you say, chodo yaar, let's focus on our home country. So a lot of people have lost money because of that. I'll be very honest. And I'll tell you at the end of the day, it's very important that you have a strong local partner. Like even if I may be, Ambani in my country, but the moment I go into another country, I'm as new as any other person standing on the line, Even let's say I come to India to you and tell you that I have a great technology and this can be a very good product for you. You'll say, okay, TK, fine, no problem. But the moment I say, oh, you know what, Reliance has invested with me or Tata is my partner, then you will see me in a completely different way. Then your respect for me and my respect for you is much higher. So same way it happens in the UAE. The moment you go to someone for business or any market development, they don't know you. There are people from 200 countries coming to them, So understand from their perspective. They don't know you. They've never seen you. You're the first time coming to their office. They have no idea about you. How can you expect them to give you $1 million business? So it's very important that you have a strong local partner. And we play that role. So the moment your license and your documentation goes to the person in charge of a particular company or a government authority, in case if you're doing business with government, they don't look at your name. Of course, they look at your name and your credential. But the most important thing they want to see is who's the name of a sponsor on your license. That adds credibility to you. And the moment they see a ruling royal family member as a sponsor, then they know that the royal family member cannot run away anywhere. This is his country. He has to hold here, right? So they know that even if this foreigner guy runs away overnight, which has happened in the last few months as well, if you noticed, some of people have run away from UAE, but they will be, their local sponsor will be responsible for them and they will face the music. So it's and we kind of take a responsibility for you. It's not easy for us. So that's why we have also a very strong due diligence and a very, very strong ways of finding out whether that company or the promoter is the right person to partner with. And if that's the case, then we partner with you and we provide you our sponsorship and our goodwill with you. And our name is attached to your name. So good or bad, whatever happens, we are partners and we face the brunt with you. So we have done that for many companies from across the world. Some of the biggest names in the UAE today are operating under our umbrella and our banner. We provide them all the logistical support, all the support in terms of their families' visas and all kind of protection that they need. So a lot of people are working with us in UAE. Another point I want to add is that with Expo, what we were trying to do, the Expo 2020, most of you all know. So Expo, a lot of people thought, oh, you know what, after Expo, what you will guys do? Like, okay, Expo is fine. It's like a largest exhibition, fine. It is very fancily done, good, everything sounds nice about it. But what after Expo? Uske baad kya hoga, boss? What about the demand after that? Is the real estate going to go down? Is the business going to go down? So the answer is very simple, which a lot of people will not know about. Even a lot of people in the UAE does not know about it. The real vision behind this Expo was not to just do an exhibition, but to establish UAE as the biggest and the largest marketplace of the world. So we realized at some point, and I was part of that research when I was on the advisory committee of the Expo team, I realized that we were not looking at competing with any of the manufacturing countries around us. We have a giant manufacturing hubs like India and China and Turkey ahead of us. We have Vietnam's, we have all these countries who have much larger advantages in terms of skilled labor force, in terms of real low cost of manufacturing. So we realized at some point we cannot compete and we cannot call ourselves as another manufacturing hub. There are hundreds of countries already doing that. But we thought, what is our biggest advantage? Our biggest advantage is that we are a neutral playing ground. The Indian may not want to go to China and do a deal with the Chinese and work under Chinese jurisdiction. But if I tell you that the same Chinese guy is now available to you in Dubai, he has his factory now in Dubai, and that now you can come and make an agreement with him in Dubai under UAE jurisdiction, you're more comfortable because you have more trust and more faith in the UAE system than a Chinese system, right? So that's what we're doing. We're creating a level playing ground for everyone from across the world. An American may not want to go to India and go into the leather markets of Kanpur or Dharavi to manufacture those leather items for them. But if the same vendor from Dharavi has now a small outlet in Dubai where he can sign the agreement and honor an agreement under a UAE jurisdiction, he can get much larger business. You know, so we are not claiming to be a manufacturing hub, although, well, we are competing very heavily on that front also. But as an office, my focus is to establish UAE as a marketplace, as a global marketplace, which is a neutral ground where, you know, people will trust if they sign agreements with you and they will want to give you business, not coming into India, but staying with you in the Dubai market. So that's what also an advantage that Dubai brings on the table to you. You know.
Thank you so much.
At this point to you.
Yeah, I just want to ask something. You know, if you can highlight for house, what sectors that will be of particular interest to you?
Well, like I said, Dubai brings, I don't know if you know the numbers, but before the pandemic, we did almost 28 million tourists. And these tourists, they spent almost $600 billion shopping and spending in the UAE, which is the record in itself. The number one tourist destination in the world was always Paris. Of course, it's a city of romance and love. And it's a beautiful place, of course, no doubt. But Dubai has surpassed even Paris for the tourist and tourism receipts. And it's only going to go bigger because Abu Dhabi is now becoming a very big tourism hub as well. So people have not just one destination in Dubai, but they have Abu Dhabi also to visit. And to our biggest relief, and the biggest comforting for me is the fact that the Saudi Arabian system is opening up in a very massive way now. Saudi has opened up its economy, and mark my words, in the next 5 years, it will be more open economy than any other economy in the world. Because the new crown prince there, this guy, Mohammed bin Sultan, His Highness, he is a very aggressive man. He wants to really achieve great success for his country. The old Saudi that you always heard of or saw, it is to be gone. There will be all sort of equality coming in. There are a lot of measures that they're announcing for tourism and all kind of development. I won't be surprised if in the next 5 to 6 years, there will be as open economy as any other economies in the world. And that is almost 60 million people. You know, the local Saudis are almost 60 million. And they have a spending power of almost $75,000 per person per annum. You know, and just to give you a comparative analysis, in India, our average incomes are around $2,500 per year as a pro rata if you distribute. So imagine you're now having almost access to 400 to 500 million people entire MENA region, which has got a spending power of almost a mean average of around $50,000 per person per annum. So imagine that's the kind of money available to you to bring it back into India and make money out of it for yourself. So everything that is a human requirement in our country is a human requirement there. Are you going to be the first country or a company to bring that product into UAE? No, there are many people already doing it. It's all about how you position your product, how well you price it, and at the end of the day, who is the local partner and who vouch for you in that market. These are the questions that one has to ask, and that's what we bring on the table for you, because we understand 1,000 things which can go wrong in a business, doing business in UAE, and then we know those 5 things which will make a critical impact, which will actually get to the business. So we are here to impart that knowledge to you. So to answer your question, any sector, every sector is welcome, as long as it's a legitimate and activity which is not dealing with anything to do with alcohol or something. But otherwise, everything else is very much allowed. No problem at all. Yeah, to answer your question.
Thank you so much. Yes, sir. Yes, Sunilji.
I would suggest let them put up their questions in the chat, and then His Excellency can answer them one by one.
Sure,
Or
sure.
you can, I'll suggest you can just raise your hands and you can go one by one with a few questions. Do we have time? How much time do we have?
As much as
we still have as much as you want.
Yeah, I have good. My next webinar starts at 1 o'clock Indian time, so it's fine. I've got another
20 minutes should be good enough.
Yeah. Anyone questions? Okay, we have a question from Kevin Mehta, who's asking that will the expo happen in 2021 and what are the plans?
Yeah, it's very much the same. It's just that the ribbon was to be cut in October 2020. The ribbon will be now cut in October 2021. But it allows us to have some more time to get ourselves ready. And that was always a complaint from our Indian ambassador's office that you haven't given us enough time. But by the way, let me tell you, India has the second largest pavilion in the expo. It is almost a pavilion of in acreage, if I tell you 1 acre of land, which is allotted only for India. And Indian government has actually gone ahead and with a lot of persuasion from us, but the previous ambassador, Mr. Vasuri, was really a good gentleman, and he pushed it very hard, and he made sure that Indian government actually buys the expo site. So the idea is there's almost built up area of 100,000 square feet, which is pretty massive. And that after the expo also will become a permanent site for Indian products and Indian services promotion. And it will be like a rotation. Every month, each state will get to highlight itself. So let's say in January, Maharashtra gets, in February, Gujarat gets it, in March, Karnataka gets it. So that way, each state will get a month to promote itself. So this expo is not going to end with just 6 months of expo, but the Indian pavilion, US pavilion, the Chinese pavilion, and I don't know exactly how many countries, but a lot of countries are going to keep a permanent booth or a permanent, not a booth, well, this is going to be very massive pavilion. So these countries are going to keep a permanent pavilion. So this is going to be, again, a very large platform for Indian companies to come and present and project themselves and showcase themselves, rather, I would say. And like I said, we've also created a platform now, both B2C as well as B2B, for Indian companies to come and present themselves. There are a lot of opportunities in the steel sector, in the pipes, in the oil and gas ancillary services, and all these petrochemical related products. There is a lot of potential with the government there, the Abu Dhabi National Oil Corporation and the Saudi Aramco and the SABIC and all the counterparts of these major companies. So there's a huge potential. Yesterday, one of the very large Indian company, which is acquiring a lot of ports in India, I'm not supposed to name them, they also expressed their interest to set up a very large port with us and set up a warehousing logistics park. Again, a very large Indian company has also decided to have ancillary services production for their automotive spare parts. I'm sure you're guessing because there are very few players in the Indian automotive sector. So that's also is happening in a very massive way. There is another very large Indian company which depends a lot on Chinese imports, is also now shifting a lot of their assemblage, what we call the assembly lines, to UAE, especially Abu Dhabi, for their production and finishing. So there are a lot of these opportunities available, yes.
Perfect. And, we have some more questions on the chat. I see a question from Shubhangi Tirodkarji. Incidentally, she is also the Vice President of Maharashtra Chamber of Commerce. And she's asking whether what are the opportunities for pharma companies are there any outlooks to set up manufacturing or repackaging units for pharma companies in the UAE? And are the regulations really strict, or it's not as strict? I mean, when you compare it with India, so if there's a pharma company that's interested in setting up in the UAE, maybe a repackaging unit, what about the licensing regulations and all these things for an established company doing in India but not registered in UAE?
Okay, so this is a 3 level of questions. First of all, what is the scope for pharma companies? If you remember very early in my presentation, I mentioned Indian doctors and Indian pharma companies have a great respect in the UAE. They really value Indian talent in terms of medicine. And both herbal and last, I think 6 months ago, the Ayush Ministry of India, they set up through us only, they did a very big event where they promoted a lot of these herbal products and all. Coming back to generic medicines, there is a huge scope right now because the pricing, the cost of Indian medicine is much more cheaper and it is a very high quality. I am not supposed to name this company, but they are setting up assembly plant in Abu Dhabi to market and sell their products in Africa as well. This is something to do with the insulin. So this is a company which is in a very advanced level of talks with us. And we've signed the initial MOUs, but because of the pandemic, it kind of got slowed down. But we are setting up, because insulin, diabetes is growing thanks to our rice love for rice and starch. Diabetes is growing across the world. So even in the Middle East, the diabetes is growing. There are different types of diabetes across the world. So this company is setting up and their cost is, their pricing is very cheap. So the largest insulin guys are the Novo Nordisk. They're selling for almost 55 to 60 per strip, what do you call that, injection, while the Indian product can be easily sold for $17 or $18. So there is going to be a vast difference in terms of pricing. And if it is anything made in India stamped, trust me, people take it very seriously. There is a huge potential for Indian pharma industry, be it packaging or being directly selling into the UAE market. Both are very good ideas. Now, coming back to the regulatory part of it, everybody knows UAE today is on 16th and soon going to be in top 10 countries for ease of doing business. Our score is 90.1, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm looking into your eyes because I know my numbers very well. So 90.1 is our score on ease of doing business. And I think it's a pretty strong score. Now, sometimes what happens is that a lot of Indian companies have problems in terms of doing the paperwork. A, they go to a shitty sponsor. B, they hire a very bad consultant to do the process for them. And C, you have to understand the paperwork that we have in India is a little different from the paperwork that they do in the US, because India follows a very British system of documentation, being a Commonwealth country, wherein UAE follows FDA, the US FDA. So if any company who has done US FDA will find it absolute cakewalk in the UAE. So it's all about the misunderstanding in terms of the paperwork, which again, going to a wrong consultant or going to a wrong sponsor will always put you in trouble. It will easily take you 6 to 9 months to get that done. But again, like I said, it all depends on who you work with and who's your partner.
Right.
I've done for this insulin company, the initial approvals that I secured for them was just 1 month, even though it was a pandemic period. So to answer your question, how tough it is, it all depends on how you approach it. And if you've done US FDA or European FDA, you have a cakewalk in it.
Perfect. Thank you so much. We have a lot of people who are attending this webinar from the northeast and eastern part of India. We have some from as far away as Nagaland. So Nagaland and the northeast, there are a lot of herbal products and herbal extracts that are available from there. In addition, there is a lot of jute products and handicrafts and handloom. Do you think that the cooperative companies or the cooperatives that are promoted by the government or state government or the central government, they have a scope in setting up with the royal family by any chance?
Yes, why not? Like I said, our scope focus right now is very much helping the small, medium enterprises. And like big companies, they know us. We are about to announce our joint venture with some of the very big names soon after the pandemic. Some of the biggest of the names, I cannot even say them right now, but some of the biggest names are always with us, we're always with them. But right now our focus is, and we understand there is a lot of pain at the middle levels in across economies across the world. So just incidentally, just last week, I was interacting with Mr. Ajmal, who happens to be from Assam. And he's made some phenomenal strides in promoting Assamese tea and oud, if you know that wood, which is very famous for scents and attar in the Middle East. So oud is doing phenomenally well. Ajmal has one of the best attars and scents in the UAE right now, and they promoted it very well. So there is already a success story from Northeast, if you may ask. If you ask me about the success stories from Northeast. I was also approached by an organization. I think it was promoted by one of the media groups. Again, I'm not supposed to name them. One of the very large media group is trying to set up promotion for Northeastern organic food, especially. And they were talking about all these organic fruits and vegetables, which are very much part of our Oriental cuisine, which are grown in a very huge quantities and at a very attractive pricing. And of course, being absolutely organic, because North is still not polluted with all these inorganic fertilizers. They still do very much in a very organic manner, and that's in a very high demand. So you have a double advantage. One being your cost of production is very low, and at the same time, you can sell it at a premium because you're organic, coming from very virgin land, sort of, So of course, there is a big advantage. Now I understand there are small farmers. So it's in fact a very good thing that you have a cooperative in place, and we can take this cooperative, we can get them a long-term agreements with the end users and the buyers in Middle East and Africa. I mean, the world is open to us, not just UAE. To give you a simple example of our reach, the current CEO of Costco, one of the largest American supply chain, their son studied with me, so we are dear friends, and he has, especially for emerging markets and agriculture, they have a budget of $17 billion, to tie up for these fruits and vegetables coming out of these underdeveloped countries, to create a long-term synergy with these communities, So, like I said, we are not only limited to UAE ourselves, because of our extent and because of our relationship. There were times when Mr. Donald Trump will be waiting outside our office for 5 hours just to get an interview or appointment with the sheikh, when he was not a president, of course. So we've done a lot for some of these presidents of the world. We have done a lot for some of these top ministers of the world, because of which we have very good relationship, not just in UAE or Middle East, but across the world. And one phone call from our office gets us a lot more audience than you can imagine. I don't want to sound like a political lobbyist here, but trust me, we can get a lot more done than just UAE, So just to sum up with that. But yes, there is a lot of scope for that. If you come as an organized group of cooperatives, they can create another success story like Amul in the Middle East. Amul is doing phenomenally well, by the way, let me tell you, in GCC overall.
I think that is an inspiration that comes from you today. And, we have a very interesting question. I think we'll take this as the last one. And, Dr. Amar Das has asked this question, that with the changing scenario and how the relationship between UAE and Israel has been turning out in the last few days, is there a scope for selling products from Israel into UAE?
Yeah, we just signed an agreement last week, basic MOU in fact. The real agreement will actually come up within next 3 weeks, as President Donald Trump just made a press release 3 days ago. I was given a copy of that by our office. I think the agreement will be formalized within next 3 months, 3 weeks. And I don't see any reason why there should be any shortcoming or any fallback of that treaty, because it's very foolproof. I have a text of the entire document I cannot share with you, unfortunately, but I've seen the whole text. It's a very comprehensive, and it's a base for a very long-term relationship. This will really help Israeli products to have a global marketplace. We've already started, in fact, the Israelis will not leave an opportunity. We already have several requests from Israeli companies as well, especially from pharma industry, from cybersecurity, from the field of precision tools and defense and security related apparatus. So we have already received a lot of interest from those companies as well, and more the merrier. This is going to become the biggest peace treaty of the world of the modern history, because this conflict has resulted in much larger conflicts worldwide, So ending this is like attacking the root of all the conflict. This divide between the Jews and the Muslims and the Christians, this has to end, and that will in turn kill almost 90% of the conflict in the world. So I think it's not just from political perspective, but also from social perspective. It will create more love and confidence between the two cultures, and thereby leading to much better business between the two economies. Yes, the future is bright, and any ideas you have, please bring it on. We'll be more than happy to work with you. Sorry.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you so much, Your Excellency. I request all of you all to just put up your questions, your partnership proposals, and whatever you are looking out to us, either through Rotary or through ICIB. We'll be more than happy to take it up. We'll put you all in direct touch with His Excellency. But we would like to see that you all get the benefit out of that. A little bit, I would like to inform regarding the ICIB, which is the Indian Chamber of International Business. Just for the members and for His Excellency and for the Rotarians here. Tied up with Rotary to assist all the MSME companies of Rotarians and non-Rotarians also to push this establishment out to the world. We are assisting with technical ventures, research and development, giving access to capital, to markets. We're working with a lot of foreign governments, Indian embassies abroad, Indian ministries, Ministry of Commerce, MEA, even the Foreign Chamber of Commerce, and domestically also we have a tie-up with around 248 domestic chambers throughout the country. And we are spread out all over India. We are present in about 8 states directly, and we have about 2,800 odd members. So please feel free to interact with us. For all you know, you might find your partner within this organization. We'll be more than happy to assist you in any way. We operate more like an NGO, not like a typical Chamber of Commerce. So please feel free to ask your questions to either me personally or by mail, or you feel free to access it in any way possible. I would really like to thank you all. If Sunilji, are you around?
Yes, I'm here. So I'd like to.
I request you to.
So I'd like to.
Vote of thanks to our.
So I'd like to thank everybody for coming here, and let me first start with His Excellency Zulfikarji for a deep insight into the ways we can really function and take this opportunity forward. There are various ways we can do it. You will definitely need a little more detailing, which we can do for you through Manpreet, through Harjeet, Anand. All of us can put together and help you connect, get into the in-depth detailing, and of course, scale up your businesses or then set up your businesses. I am truly glad that His Excellency Zulfikarji has spared his time here today. I know know him for about 4 or 5 months now, and I know how difficult and truly difficult, I'm not saying this formally, truly difficult it is for him to spare time, because he's on the call about 12 of the 14 hours that he has. And so it's great for you to spare your time and come in here and for this insight into how we can operate in the Middle East. And we'll definitely take this opportunity forward and try and get more tie-ups and associations. Thank you so much for everybody to be here.
Thank you. Again, the Rotary Club of Mumbai, and especially the District 3141, I guess. Yeah, I got it right. And also ICIB, Manpreet, you've been really up to your task. I would say you have kept me on toes in terms of the questions. What should we ask? What should I address you? I mean, to the tip to toe, the way you got into details, I think you've done a phenomenal job. And what helped me was the fact that you already lived in the UAE, you understand all the scenarios and all the negatives and positives that one can go through. So I'm very happy that I was interacting with you from this side. And let me tell you very honestly, we are very approachable. We are very much available. It's not about the number of time and the number of hours. I'm very passionate, as you must have heard me almost speak for an hour. I'm very passionate about what I do, and I believe if you have no passion, then don't be there, So it's all about money comes and goes. I mean, that's a part of the process, I mean, I never worried about that part. I always worried about setting up the right relationship and setting up the right friendship with the partners. Only then, you will have the best of the relationship. Otherwise, you can sign the most beautiful agreement and it will be just a toilet paper. It's of no use if both parties don't honor it. It's all about commitment and the friendship and the relationship that we set up. And for that, I'm always available. And Mr. Sunil Mehra, again, thank you very much for your time. Harjeet Bhai, thank you so much. Manpreet, again, thank you. And the best way to reach us is via ICIB. It will be because they are screening and they know the process with the way we work. So they'll just make life much more easier for all of us. So kindly approach Manpreet. Manpreet, get busy, buddy.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And my special thanks to Harjeet. If you are around, I mean, I really would appreciate all the hand support that has been coming from your end. And, you know, I've been troubling you with this and that. And especially with His Excellency, you know, I've been troubling you sometimes in the middle of the night, even at 1 a.m. And you've been so kind enough to respond to those messages. Thank you so much. And District
That's when I'm awake.
341 ICIB.
With American partners. So that's when I'm awake. Yeah, but thanks again. Thank you again, guys, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for your time for us again. Really have a great day, great week, great life, and be safe. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'll just share a
Thank you.
slide. I'll ask Jyoti if she can share a slide of the content. Is this slide visible? I mean,
Yes, yes, it's visible, Manpreet.
okay, this is, if any questions, feel free to contact me. My mobile number is given, and the ICIB mobile number is also given. Thank you so much. And Harjeet ji, last minute from you. We cannot close without your comments.
Yes, yes. I thank His Excellency, the entire team for the wonderful success webinar we had. And I wish many more, at least every second, third month, whatever, more education to be given to our people and take benefit of the relationship we have with His Excellency. He is there to help us 24/7, and he is very passionate guy. So anybody who has the queries this, so he may contact Manpreet ji. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Harjeet ji. I also find Rajan he's the project director of SME. Raghu, comments from you, anything that you would like to support, how Rotary can interact with the members and how we can push them.
Hello.
Yes,
Very well. Manpreet, you have done it very well. So we expected some more Rotarians to have joined us, but I don't know why. There are a couple of people have come in, but let us see, we will take it up further, because we wanted to have a work between 3141 Rotarians to UAE. We have done a lot of exports for the past, but we want to check up whether we can, maybe not, for example, like Vijay was telling, maybe after some time, the oil and natural gas will open up, maybe after 3-4 months. Then we can set up the whole set there and we can work. Many people come from UAE and pick from us. So why not we do the assembly there itself? So we manufacture in India and give it to there, make an assembly and give it to all the people. So let us see how it goes about it. Thank you very much for sparing your time and all of us.
Thank you, everyone. It's been a pleasure. Thank you, His Excellency. Thank you, Sunilji. Thank you, Rotary. So much. Thank you, ICIB.
Thank you, everybody.
Ending this. Yep. We're ending this meeting right now. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks.